Hey everybody, we're going to talk about the next illustration assignment. The theme is music, and it's a bit open-ended. There's a couple different directions you can go for this project. I want you to pick a real band or individual musician, and I want you to create an artwork that goes along and promotes them. You can imagine it as a concert poster, as we see here, or it can be an illustration of the artist musician for a magazine or a web publication or something like that, which is something that I have experience in and have done a few of. So this is I wanted to start, go back in time a little bit. I don't think there's a band that I associate more with visuals than the Grateful Dead. And a lot of their success, I mean, they're a great band, but a lot of their success has been catapulted by how strong their logos, iconography, visuals, and this is a great example. I picked out three things that they're known for. The first being this skull and roses figure, which is funny enough, and actually an old 19th century lithograph that a couple of 1960s artists during the day worked into their poster. Then some would say plagiarized, but maybe appropriated would be a better word for that. It's Stanley Mouse and Alton Kelly, and they found this lithograph, and it became, it was copyright free, of course. They worked it into their images, and it became associated with the Grateful Dead. So the Grateful Dead, you may or may not know, is a sort of a psychedelic band from the 60s, 70s, and up into the 80s. And I think you can notice that the lettering sort of reflects that psychedelic quality. You can, here's a secondary logo, by the way, that they're very known for, which is there's also a skull with the famous lightning bolt through it. If you do work with type, which of course, if you're working on a concert poster, you would be, I'd really prefer that you make the type hand lettered. Don't just, because this isn't really a graphic design class. We've mostly been focusing on illustration with a few side tangents. So focus on ways to make those letters have a hand done quality to them. And I mean, this poster is a great example. Even the bottom part where you see the date and the location is all hand done. So as I've said throughout the semester, the more hand done, the better. And certainly this project applies to that. So here's the third thing that the Grateful Dead is known for, which is sort of their bear icon. It's a tribute to their late great sound man, a guy named Owsley, who passed away, and then the logo sort of is a tribute to him. But I've seen these bears everywhere. I've got a T-shirt with these bears on them. Actually, you'll see it on stickers, posters. It's really sort of the three, the triptych of Grateful Dead icons that they use for their visuals. Very, very eye-catching and noticeable and fun and playful. Although this is for the Dead and Company, which is the post Grateful Dead incarnation, I think, with John Mayer. So a lot of these that I've shown you have the dates and times. I want you to find a real concert that happened, and then work with that. Okay. Or it could be one that's coming up for a band or a group that you're interested in. Look at their tour schedule and maybe create a poster for it. I think it's even cooler if you can have the poster relate to some aspect of the concert. So this would be in the Wrigley Field for where the Cubs play. So they obviously tied in the bear icon with the Chicago Cubs, which is pretty neat. Moving on, here's another one with just nice, interesting, certainly psychedelic hand lettering. The Jefferson Airplane. I just threw this one in so you could see more examples of like really nice hand lettering. It's another one. also from Chicago. Nice illustrational quality to it. So moving into more contemporary, this is a band called the Fleet Foxes, which is around, still doing great stuff. Only a few years old as a group. I really like this sort of playful illustration quality of it. We've got these animals and this sort of Alice in Wonderland-esque figure with the masks on. Iron and Wine. Um, so none of these posters actually feature images or drawings of the artist. You can do that, but you don't have to. If you do something that would be in the vein of this, please make it relevant to the artist or the songs in some way. So that's why I want you to pick out music that you like and you care about. Don't just take an illustration that you have and then slap it on a poster, right? Make sure it relates to the music. Going back in time a little bit, this is Pink Floyd, also very psychedelic, sort of like the bold colors. A lot of the themes that you'll see with music posters is the colors are very bold and eye-catching because that's obviously what the poster's trying to do. Music posters back in the day needed to stand out to get people's attention. Uh, really like this one because of just the wild lettering there of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it sort of radiates around their logo there, which I think their logo is called the Infinity Star or something like that. It looks sort of like an asterisk. But really interesting, really eye catching, and relates to the band, obviously. So if you go with text, this could be a really relevant illustration. You know, illustrators are often asked to do lettering. And so just because it doesn't have an image of the band in there doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. Okay, so I threw a couple of mine in because it relates to music. This is actually a flyer that I created, postcards. I printed up postcards of this, and it was just to promote myself. This wasn't a job that I got, but I was real interested in getting into magazines and publications for my illustration work. So I did an Elvis, a Johnny Cash, and a Roy Orbison for Sun Records in Memphis, Tennessee. And this helped. So I would mail this to publishing companies or independent labels, and it gave them something physical to look at. It wasn't just like they had to come across my work on social media. And it actually led to a few jobs for me, which was great. It's a little expensive to print these up and then mail them out, but it was worth it, and I'm glad I did it. This is another one that I did that was also a postcard, and it's just a singular image of Johnny Cash and then sort of referencing his gospel roots with the cross and the crown of thorns. And another one, this one was just for promotional purposes, and it worked out for me. This is an actual job, and this is the musician Bonnie Prince Billy. Also, well, that's his kind of stage name. Will Oldham is his name. And I started to do a lot of work for American Songwriter magazine and Oxford American, and some of these Southern or music, folk, I don't know, whatever category you want to put these alternative magazines or publications in. That's sort of where I found a niche. And certainly this one was great. I think it went along with the article or interview. So this is not something I did. This is a Sufjan Stevens. I included a few of these in here to show you how the text and the image could go together, or the portrait could go together. So that's an option for you for this project. Again, you don't have to make a poster at all if you don't want it to be a concert poster. It can just be like what I just showed you, an illustration. It's totally up to you. Here's a Phoebe Bridges. It's much more graphic. This is a kind of borderline graphic design, but I really like the letters. I like the scorpion icon. I just like the overall arrangement to kind of show you how far you could push this project if you want to go out a little bit in your ideas. There's a Lil Wayne, just a nice, clean illustration, obviously done on a tablet or created digitally. And as with all projects, you can go either way. You can create all your work on the tablet, you can do it by hand, or somewhere in between. Insane Clown Posse kind of fits the vibe of the band. Again, hand letter effect. Got the Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope in there. Bold colors fits the vibe, right? Flaming Lips. Again, bold, outrageous, eye-catching, fits the group, fits the mood of the band. I mean, when you go to a Flaming Lips concert, you're there for a good time. And it's kind of fun, wacky, and gets your attention. That's kind of what you're going for, right? Pearl Jam, 90s grunge band, still making good music. This is for one of their more recent concerts. It says 2022 in London. What an awesome illustration. Just really cool. References the venue with Big Ben at the British telephone booths there. So again, I think it could be a really cool, fun project if you not only represent the band in some way, but if you decide to do a music poster, reference some of the venue or the location of the concert to really make it stand out. That could be cool. Radiohead, one of my favorites. This is from around the time that Kid A came out, the band or the album, and certainly references their work in there. I love the lettering. It's definitely of a time, but works really well, very effective. Very old school. I just love this illustration, though. This James Brown illustration, going back to 1963 here. But what a nice, dynamic, clean, well-drawn illustration that is. Look at the background too, with the sort of vertigo lines twisting around. That's something that those little tiny details can really add to an illustration and really create a sense of movement, right? That's all we got for my examples. I hope it makes sense. So make this something that's fun, make it personal, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Thank you.